Yes, Ring Kings podcast is back. We are back with the crew. It seems like it's been forever. It feels that way. I mean, I just talked to you guys, every day this week, but it seems like it's been forever since we've seen you guys. Another episode of Ring Kings, man. We got a lot to talk about, but first, what's going on with you guys? Mikey, B, what's good?
Hanging in there, man.
Yeah.
It's been kind of a whack couple weeks for boxing. We had a strong stretch for like 4 or 5 weeks. I think it was 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
But it should be picking up. You know, my favorite fighter is fighting next weekend. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Our favorite, the show's favorite, King Ryan Garcia is fighting next week. Look, we haven't put out any videos or anything in a couple of weeks, but we've been working hard behind the scenes. We got a lot of content coming out for you guys, so stay tuned. It's well worth the wait. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. But in the meantime, we decided, we got some time. Let's drop a quick podcast and discuss some things coming up and just, anything else that comes to mind. But the first thing, look, King Ryan, we're going to say the best for last. Okay. We're going to say the best for last. We have a Jake Paul fight coming up. Now we did one of our first videos. I think that was episode 1. We talked about the Paul brothers and we asked, are the Paul brothers good for boxing? Since then, my opinion has really shifted towards yes. I like what Jake Paul is doing. I really do. And, I still think it's boxing entertainment. But like Tank Davis said, when he was talking about Jake Paul, he said, yeah, Jake's got a little bit of skill. When you do it long enough, you're going to develop some skill, right? So he's finally taken on a pro boxer. It's not the guy that we thought it was going to be. It's supposed to be Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury backed out, according to Jake Paul. He went running scared. And Hasim Rahman Jr. is taking his place. So Hasim Rahman Jr., 12-1 record. Is this a legit fight, fellas?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a legitimate fight. And, I said that, he's not Tommy. Jake Paul is not a real fighter until he actually fights a real boxer, right? He hasn't done that yet. He's been fighting retired MMA fighters and other, athletes from other professional sports. So this is a fight against a real fighter. So, yeah, he can call himself a real boxer now. Not particularly excited about this fight. It's Hasim Rahman Jr. He's not very good, but he is a real fighter. He's actually heavier than Jake Paul, which is going against the trend as well. He likes to have people come up to his weight, balloon up to his weight. But Hasim Rahman Jr. is a heavyweight, so I guess they're going to be fighting maybe I'm not sure if it's going to be at heavyweight or if he's going to come down to cruiserweight, but he's fighting a real fighter in his weight class, so it is a real fight this time.
All right, what are your thoughts, Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, listen, to start with what you said, I think if you go back to our very first episode, I think we all were kind of like, yeah, man, get them dudes out of the way. But I'm on record of texting you guys, multiple times over the last couple of months and saying, hey, man, this dude is kind of growing on me. Just from, what he's doing behind the scenes, right? As a promoter.
And for the Amanda Serrano fight, that was huge. That was huge.
And that was probably a pound for pound one of the biggest telecasts for a boxing match this year. You know what I mean? And you had some pretty big names fight. So he put on that. And then, he's the way he's challenging these promoters, especially Dana White and those guys. Like, the kid is starting to grow on me. I don't want to, like, I don't want to give him a bro hug yet. We ain't there yet. But, he can, we can be like, hey, what's up to each other. He's growing on me in that way. But, yeah, I mean, it's a real fight, Everybody was calling him out, saying he hasn't fought a real boxer, so this is what he's doing. I mean, we talked about it offline. I think it's a strategic move, right? He's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He's fighting a real boxer, and one that's probably not really that good. And it hurts me to say that because Hasim has some local ties to us from the Baltimore area. So, you know what? I'm going to be rooting for it. But I'm happy he's getting his payday. I'm happy about the payday for the kid. But yeah, it's a real fight.
Speaking of payday, like I'm not sure what exactly he's getting paid, but I know he's said that he's going to be the lowest paid Jake Paul opponent to date, and I understand that because he's a fill-in for Tommy Fury, right? But I expect that it'll be a pretty decent payday. And I'm sorry, like I'm still skeptical if this is going to be a real fight or not. Like he's handpicked, because he sparred with Jake Paul in the past. I think there's a established relationship there where Jake Paul feels comfortable knowing that this guy isn't going to make me look bad, right? And I understand that because again, look, I think it's boxing entertainment. I don't think these are real fights necessarily. I think there's some sparring going on, and when his opponent needs to take a dive, he takes a dive, right? And everybody gets some money, and everybody walks out there happy, and it just builds his brand up more. Now that part of it, people could say, that's not good for boxing or whatever. I don't think it hurts boxing. I think it's more entertainment, but on the promotion side of it, I think Jake Paul is doing an excellent job. I hope he continues to build that side of it. Tommy Fury. Now, what happened with Tommy Fury? Because Jake Paul says that Tommy Fury is just ducking him and he's hiding. That is reports that he just couldn't get into the country. Like, so what's going on with that?
Yeah, he was barred from traveling to the U.S. He had some visa issues. Jake Paul says that his team kind of had reached out to Tommy Fury and told him what they needed to do to resolve those issues, and the Tommy Fury's team didn't do it. Also, aside from that, it came out that Tommy Fury wasn't really training. He was well overweight. He was going to have to drop 30 and 40 pounds to get into fighting shape before the August 6th fight. So he wasn't really taking it seriously. His father wasn't, in camp with him as much as he normally is. His brother obviously wasn't working with him. So, it's not something that he was seriously, focused on. He was just doing whatever he was doing. And I think at the last minute there, he was like, I'm way overweight. I don't really want to get into shape. I definitely don't want to get in the ring with Jake Paul and get embarrassed if it comes to that. So, visa issue, and that's fine. We'll just cancel the fight.
My thing is this. Like, he's a professional boxer, right? He wants to be a professional boxer. Obviously, he wants to carry on the legacy. And like, my thing is, what happened? Because the last fight we saw him in, I can't remember what undercard he was on. I think it was a Tyson Fury undercard, but he's out there. I mean, he didn't look great, but at least he looked in shape. And Tyson Fury's there getting him all kinds of pointers. He got his arm around him and everything. But against Jake Paul, right? If there's no, as long as it's not one of those, okay, you're gonna take a dive, right? Okay, no, this is gonna be a real fight. Okay, this is a good opportunity to put your name on the map, right? Like, you got the last name Fury already, right? You're Tyson Fury little brother. You're gonna get some buzz from that. But if you go out there and beat Jake Paul, that's going to give you even bigger buzz. So why aren't you taking this fight seriously? Why isn't your dad in camp with you? Why isn't your brother in camp with you? Like, what's going on?
Well, they were busy, right? And they told him, hey, you can do this if you want, but we are busy. We're not going to be able to train with you at this time. And he said, fine, I'll do it myself. And then he didn't do it.
Yeah, so. But okay, fine. They're busy. I don't know what Tyson's busy doing. He's retired. Oh, but they're not trainers though, right? So why isn't the trainer there?
Well, his father is his trainer. I mean, I don't know what kind of qualifications John Fury has, but I mean, that's the guy who was kind of in his corner all the time. Yeah, it just seems like he's. I think he's probably content with the publicity from just going back and forth publicly with Jake Paul and not having to actually get in the ring. Because listen, Jake Paul, not a good fighter, right? But I think he does take it seriously. I think he is trying to really improve. I think it's something that he's, he found out he has a passion for, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's Tommy Fury. So he didn't want to take the chance of getting in there and getting embarrassed by Jake Paul. And he can just, spar back and forth with them through social media or whatever and get some buzz that way, and he doesn't have to take the fight.
Yeah. I mean, well, there also is a claim that, Tyson is banned to fly into the U.S. too. So I'm wondering if it has something to do with, well, I know they're saying Tyson is on the ban list right now because of the guy we did a show about, the Kinahan.
Oh,
so,
there was a rumor that was kind of why Tommy was, but from what I've read, it's not to do with it's nothing to do with Tyson. His father is also not allowed to travel to the U.S. because of previous, activities of questionable legality. He can't come over, and so there was talk that maybe that Tommy wanted to move the fight so that his family could be there. So I mean, that could be another reason. He's like, yeah, they can't be there. I don't really want to go over to the U.S. by myself and have this fight. So we'll just whatever. But
I wonder what the workaround is. That it must have been a legal workaround because they were ready for coming and saying, hey, we told them how to get around that so you can enter the country. Like, what's the workaround?
Who knows? Because I mean, nobody has said exactly what the issue was with his visa.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what the resolution would be there. But yeah, so that's out. Hasim Rahman Jr. stepping up for the fight. His last fight was against. Was it? I know his last name's Morrison. I got to look up his
Kizzy Morrison.
That's his name, Kizzy. Like from Roots?
I think Kizzy is like his nickname. I think it's like McKenzie.
No, not Roots. What was it from? What was the other one? Color Purple? Is that what it was?
Kizzy? I don't know.
Oh yeah, okay. James McKenzie Morrison.
Oh, McKenzie. Oh, okay.
He's 19-0-2 and knocked out Rahman. But I think it was the 5th round of that fight. Rahman did not look good at all in that one.
Yeah. And the billing for that fight was, the sons of 2 former heavyweights. So they sold it that way. I mean, I don't remember seeing it, but and Rahman he looked pretty bad in the clip that I saw. Well, actually, B sent the total fight, and so I don't know, man. It's. Listen, well, I'll pose this question to you too. Who would we have rather seen fight? Like this, I mean, were we really looking for Tommy Fury? I mean, I know he's the bigger name because of who he's tied to, but does it really make that much of a difference? Or
for me,
who's the better fighter out of those two? That's the question.
I think Rahman is a better fighter.
Okay,
all right.
I'm not so sure, man.
They're both pretty bad. I think. Well, look. They might be, but I think Rahman might be better, and I think Rahman is going to take the fight more seriously, right? So Tommy Fury going in out of shape, that would be entertaining because that would just be, hey, look, if you try to beat me, I think that'd be one of those try to beat me fights. Jake Paul wants to get a legit win on his record, and Jake Paul, is going to be ready. And Tommy Fury not going to be, not being ready. That would have been entertaining. I think this fight, if it's a serious fight, I have my doubts. I still think it's a little boxing entertainment going on there. But if it's a serious fight, it's not going to be as compelling, I think, right? Maybe it just looks like a solid sparring match. We're going to watch anyway, but it might be a better matchup because they're both, maybe at the same skill level or around the same skill level, and they're both in shape. But I think Tommy Fury going to the fight not in shape, looking like who was the MMA fighter? The first one he knocked out, not Woodley, the one that looked like a bag of milk.
Ben Askren.
When Ben Askren showed up, like I imagine Tommy Fury showing up looking like Ben Askren and just getting washed. That would be hilarious.
And I do want to point out also that this fight with Morrison, it was a title fight. It was for a heavyweight championship. The
regular?
No. Not either one of these guys. This is the US NBC heavyweight title.
Like the channel NBC?
No, it's a WBC belt, but just for the it's like a national belt essentially. And I also want to point out that, like I said, Rahman was knocked out in the 5th round, and up to that point, all 3 judges had scored it 40-36 for looks like McKenzie.
Okay.
Oh man. I can tell you I'm rooting for Rahman. I know we just got finished saying we're becoming Jake Paul fans, but look, the hometown kid, I can't root against him. I'm rooting for Rahman. I'm picking Jake Paul though, because I still don't think this is real.
I put my money on Jake Paul, but I'm rooting.
Well, actually, this may be 4-0 for Rahman. It may be. I'm a little confused how they had it set up here. That might be for Rahman. Let me check and make sure.
So he was winning the fight, and then he got caught slipping.
Yeah, so they all had it 4-0 for Rahman, and then he got knocked out in the 5th.
Yeah, like if you're being real, that's some of the traits that his father had too. All right, his father, like his father was a pretty good heavyweight fighter. I remember when he first came on the scene, he was hot, boy. He was putting people to sleep. But the fights that he lose, it was just lack of focus, right? He'll be winning, and then he just not pay attention for a minute, and then you can't not be focused at a heavyweight.
Not that Lennox rematch, but the other thing I wanted to point out is,
I thought he was doing all right before he got knocked out. If we're being honest, I thought he did all right, but Lance made the adjustment.
Yeah, that fight was also at the very end of April, and I was a little surprised that he was even able to fight. A lot of times when you do suffer a knockout, you get a mandatory suspension. This fight is going to be a little more than 3 months. From that knockout. So, I mean, maybe there was no suspension at all in this case, but I mean, it seems a little odd to me that he's, had a recovery time and camp and is ready to go and fight again in just over 3 months after getting knocked out. But, we'll see.
Look,
we'll say that for sparring sessions. I wonder how many people know they give them a recovery time like that.
Yeah, I didn't know, to be
honest. That's something that it varies from commission to commission, right? Like, maybe there wasn't. I'd have to check. Maybe they were just like, no, whatever, you're fine, get out.
Yeah.
Right. But maybe they say, hey, this isn't real, so go ahead.
Right.
They said, listen, can you pay the sanctioning fee? Yes.
Right.
Let's stamp that bill of health. You're good.
Yep.
All right. So that is the Jake Paul fight coming up. We're gonna be watching it because we like boxing, and look, it's gonna be entertaining.
And I want to see. Let's not forget, Amanda Soriano is on the undercard.
Serrano. Yeah.
Serrano, yeah. So
yes.
So I think again, I think the genius of him, or that he's still starting to show as a promoter. I mean, he's putting her out front, and I respect that. He knows people will tune in. You know? So. And again, they had such a big fight when she fought. Well, it was Katie Taylor, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Katie Taylor. Yep.
And, so he knows what he's doing. They tried to supposedly it fell through. They were trying to do the second fight of that like right away, but him and Eddie Hearn, they couldn't work it out. But again, he's challenging these so-called big names, big promoters in the game already. So yeah, I like what he's doing from that standpoint. I really do.
Yeah. I think that's gonna help him start to steal some talent away from these other promoters, right? He knows how to promote the fighters. He puts them on his card and give them exposure, and he gets them paid.
He paying them. Yep.
So, all right, let's go to the main course here.
So, before the Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman fight next week. Saturday, the July 16th, we've got the return of Ryan Garcia against Javier Fortuna. And listen, Ryan Garcia has been working like a madman leading up to this fight.
How hard has he been working? Let's take a look at how hard has he been working, you ask? let's take a look here. Let's take a look at how hard King Rye has been working. Let's take a look here.
Look at that. Look at that work.
Look at that work. Look at that work. Look at that precision. It looks like he's about to break his wrist.
It does. And I don't know who that is behind him. It might be just a regular patron of the gym, but he's looking like
that's somebody at the Anytime Fitness. Like, yo, when are you getting off the bag?
Right.
Like, why are you filming this? You look terrible. Like, I'm trying to get my work in.
He said, bro, like, you guys are on the treadmill. You guys are using up the punching bag. This is only a 900 by 900 square foot space here, bro. Like, you're not following the rules. Where's the manager?
Take down these lights. Like, what are you doing?
You got the music blasting, you know, like, yeah. That is not a good look.
It wasn't a good look, but it was better than the look of him working out with the 5-pound dumbbells.
I mean, listen. I guess at the end of the day, doesn't it's not the aesthetics of the gym that matter, right? It's the work that you put in. It just doesn't look like he's doing a real camp.
It just looks
right.
Funny. It just looks funny. Yeah.
I think it'd have been better if you did it like if you're doing it in your garage. You just look like you're just grinding like old school Rocky style or something like that. I don't know. It looked like you're working up a little sweat and you're holding up the line, right?
It feels like a regular gym where you would hold a regular training camp is not really conducive to IG videos.
Plus, the talks of, why he left Canelo's gym. There's speculation that, look, he just wasn't a hard worker, and Canelo told him, like, if you come here, like, you have to put in that work. And he was just like, nah, I'm not feeling that, man. You guys come in too early. I gotta get my beauty sleep,
You saw what happened to the man who slandered the Royal, right? He went out and lost. So, there you go.
He said maybe
Canelo.
He said maybe you need to put in some more work, Cinnamon.
Look, man, when I saw that clip the other day, it just put me in mind, outside of where he's at, right? He doesn't look smooth. He doesn't look crisp in any of the punches he's throwing. It just doesn't look good. And it reminded me of a person who, like, damn, that's right, I got a fight next weekend. I forgot. Yeah.
He's like, man, let me.
I forgot. Damn, I gotta get in the gym. Hey, we haven't posted a video yet of you working out. All right, man, just film this and put this out. Like, so I don't know, man. Maybe looking a little too deep into this, but most of the comments that I've seen on these videos are like, bro, he doesn't look good. And I know we get dubbed as King Rye haters, but yeah, man,
that's our guy. What are you talking about, man?
He just doesn't look good right there. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it looks. I mean, I'll be tuned in.
How can we be King Rye haters when we put him on our card?
Right.
How can we possibly be haters when he's on our Ring Kings card?
And he's one of the jokers. If you guys get it.
And yes. and if you like the cards, if you want a pack of these Ring Kings cards, if you want a deck of these, here's how you can do it. Patreon.com/LBHT show. Okay, we have a couple of tiers. We have 3 tiers for this. We have 3 tiers or 2 tiers.
We have the 3 tiers. The $3 tier is just a general support tier. The $5 tier, I'll have to pull up the exact description. I didn't know you were going to say that in the middle of the video.
I know. I just,
No, it wasn't a $5 tier. It was a $10 tier. So
$10 tier,
the $3 tier, which is general support. We have the $10 tier, which gets you the custom poker deck featuring our top 25 fighters of all time.
Yes.
If you haven't checked out that video series, definitely go ahead and click on that and leave a like, leave a comment, let us know what you think. And then we have a $20 tier, which is a combined tier for this show and Jose and I's other show, Lunch Break Hot Take, where you'll get everything in the other tiers as well as the LBHT crew coin and access to our Discord channel and everything like that.
That's right. Also, if you like the merch, if you like this shirt, You like what B's wearing? That's from our other channel. You know, we got Ring Kings merch as well. All that you can go to lbhtshow.com/shop right there. Okay, that's where we keep all of our merch. All right, and also if you notice right here, right in the corner, $ LBHT show. That's our cash app. That's how we do super chats, the super thanks or whatever they call it on YouTube, the tip button, whatever tips that you want. $ LBHT show. All right, and when we do live streams, we usually post a link.
That's your laugh tax right there.
Yes, 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 exactly. Now, King Rye. I mean, we say it kind of mockingly, right? King Rye. I mean, that is his nickname. But are we expecting him to win this fight? Because I'm starting to have doubts. That video right there is starting to put doubts in my mind. I know Fortuna is pretty much washed.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call him washed. He's older. He won his last fight by first round knockout. I mean, the opponent wasn't great. He lost his previous fight to Jojo Diaz, but it was a fairly close fight. He lost a unanimous decision there. That was about a year ago. So I wouldn't say that he's completely washed, but I would expect Ryan Garcia to beat him if, you know, Ryan is serious about being a boxer.
Yeah, I mean, so this fight was supposed to happen, but this was supposed to happen a year or two ago.
Yeah,
this is the fight that he had his mental health issues, or was this the?
Yeah, this is the one.
Okay. No. I thought that was the Jojo Diaz fight.
So I think
to fight Diaz, and then
he was supposed to fight Fortuna.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Fortuna, and then it was something with Jojo Diaz as well.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Diaz, and then he pulled out, and so what's his name? Haney stepped up to fight Diaz.
Okay. He was supposed to fight somebody, and then he said, "I don't want to do this."
It's something like that. I think so. I think there were two instances where he, well, okay, I'm not gonna say backed out. Well, you know, I think so.
He took a mental health break.
Yeah, so mental health issues. You know, I don't. You know, he said he had that. So I think that was a fight where he backed out of that, and then it was I thought he had an injury too that forced him to back out of one.
So he did pull out of a fight against Fortuna last year.
Okay,
July 9th. And that's when Fortuna went on to fight Jojo Diaz.
Right. Okay.
And I'm still trying to see if he was supposed to fight Jojo Diaz, because I swear he was supposed to fight Jojo Diaz late last year.
There was talks of it. It was. I remember hearing that.
Yeah. And then it's weird because you know why? Because he was supposed to fight Isaac Cruz, and then he pulled out of that.
I was about to say
it's too much, Ryan.
The reason why you think that is because he always says, "Oh yeah, I got a deal in place. and then he backs out of it, right?
Yeah.
So he probably was supposed to fight Diaz, just like he was supposed to fight Isaac Cruz, and you know those fights don't happen. You know, he was supposed to fight Tank, and then he's like, but you know I got this Pacquiao exhibition match. You know, red headgear, and he promised not to hurt me. So, you know, I want to do that.
October, he pulled out of the Jojo Diaz fight.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a year late. I think he's expected to win. I expect him to win. We'll see, man. I hope it's a good fight. I don't think that the way he looked in his last fight, you couple that with the way he's looking in his videos. He hasn't looked that great.
He hasn't.
And, you know, Fortuna, he hasn't, you know, all of the press that they tried to put behind this fight, he didn't come stateside. He stayed home to, I believe it's Brazil. And
Fortuna?
Yeah.
I think he's the Dominican.
Dominican, okay. To train. So it seems like he's really taking this serious. So I think it'll be closer than maybe what the King Rye Cavalry will think it will be, but I expect him to win.
So just to clear it up, Ryan Garcia was scheduled to fight Javier Fortuna in July of last year, of 2021. He pulled out of that fight abruptly. He didn't say exactly why. He just said on Instagram that it was important for him to manage his health and well-being, so that fight was off. Then he was supposed to fight Jojo Diaz in October. He was injured and pulled out of that fight. And then he was supposed to fight Isaac Cruz, and then he was like, "Oh wait, I have another fight," and so he pulled out of the fight with Isaac Cruz, and now he is fighting. I mean, fingers crossed. He's fighting Javier Fortuna July 16th. Finally making his return to the ring.
Yeah. Man, listen, I gotta think about this. I think I'm leaning towards Fortuna, man. Look, you cannot play around at this level, right? You cannot play around if you're not taking it serious, and that guy's taking it very serious. That won't end well for you. Like, yes, the last guy he fought, he came out of retirement to fight you, right? And I think that was just an agreed, hey, just dance around the ring for a little bit. We go home and get a check. I get my win. I get a little bit of work. I don't think this is the same agreement going on here with Javier Fortuna. And I don't know, man. Like, Ryan Garcia, I just don't think he's gotten it yet, right? I think Canelo's try to tell him, Oscar, and I understand, you're not listening to Oscar because Oscar, just whatever. But I think a lot of people were trying to tell him, like, you got to take it more seriously. You got to train harder. And it just hasn't sunk in for him. And this looks like one of those fights where, it could catch up with him because he didn't take it serious enough. He gets in there and it's more of a struggle than he realized. And then he gets into a real fight and he can't handle it. Man, I'm going to go with Fortuna, dude. I'm going with Fortuna.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think it has completely sunk in, and I think he just doesn't like the work that it takes to be a fighter. I think he's going to continue to do it, at his current level for as long as he can, make as much money as he can. And then, if he starts to fall off or he loses a few fights or people lose interest, then he'll just go do something else. But I think he understands what it takes to be a fighter. He just maybe doesn't want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think you said it before, Jose. I think you called him a social media champion or something like that. Like he likes that side of it. You know what I mean? And boxing, like B just said, right now he's somewhat of a draw, and so he's going to butter his bread that way. But he has found a way to avoid the names of the people that he calls out, and but I do think that part of it is starting to wear thin. I think people are starting to see through his BS because fighters are now calling it out. Like, and not even some of the fighters of the names he's calling. Like, these are fighters that are saying, man, come on, bro. Like, how you going to mention his name? Devin Haney, and it's always been talk of now, especially now, Devin Haney and Tank eventually fighting, right? Devin Haney went out of his way to say, in defense of Tank, like, this guy is calling out people's names that he won't even fight, that he doesn't want to fight. So he's like, don't even mention him as a potential name for me, because he's using people's names to sell his fight.
Yeah.
And so I think it's starting to come through the light now.
It's starting to irritate a lot of very dangerous people.
Yes.
I think is what's really happening for Ryan Garcia. I think he needs to avoid getting in the ring with any of them.
Yeah. And so now it's to the point of where we're going to call it the Jake Paul rule. Like, we question Jake Paul, hey, he hasn't fought a real boxer now. Like, it's time for Garcia to fight a real name, especially if he's going to call people out like he's doing. Mm-hmm. So we'll see, but I agree with you as well, Zay. Like, you don't play boxing, man.
Yeah.
So you don't take this serious, man. You can get seriously hurt. And again, he didn't look impressive against Tagbo or whatever his name is, Tagu, whatever. He came out of retirement, just to fight this guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if he looked bad. Now I expect him to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a close fight and Fortuna finds a way to steal it.
No, if he gets dropped again, like, you don't expect him to fight anybody serious ever again. Right?
If he gets dropped again, do you think he'll pull the Anthony Joshua, I'm not really hurt, but I'm going to look around and be like, why am I here? And I'm just going to leave now.
No, I think he'll get up. I think he'll get up a fight. I mean, like, the first, that's a crazy thing. Who was that against? Was it Luke Campbell? He fought?
Yeah. Luke Campbell.
Luke Campbell. Like, that's when I had the most respect for him, because, like, okay, he got rocked and he got up and finish Luke Campbell. I was like,
absolutely
pretty good. I was like, pretty good.
At that point, I was like, man, people need to stop talking about Ryan like this, man. He showed a lot of heart right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Ryan Garcia said, I should never be hit like that ever. So I gotta pick my fight. I gotta pick my fights a little bit better next time. But okay. He wins this. Let's say he wins this fight, right? He's favored to win. Let's say he wins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Is it finally time? He's been calling out Tank. Do they finally make it happen?
It's going to depend on how he looks in this fight. I mean, if he goes out there and he really puts on a show and he looks great, maybe he'll have that kind of confidence to be like, okay, I'll make this fight. If it's a tough fight for him, I don't think he's going to want to. I mean, Tank is at his peak right now. And I think he'll destroy Ryan Garcia regardless of Ryan Garcia's confidence level. But I don't think that if he struggles, I don't think he's going to be willing to take that risk in his next fight.
What do you think,
Mike? Yeah, he'll keep talking it. He'll keep talking it. But I mean, I'm gonna say this. I agree with what B just said. Right? It depends on how he looks. Even if he looks good, they'll find a way. Him and Oscar will find a way to skip around this. They're gonna blame it on, Mayweather's side. We all know those two sides don't get along anyway. And if it has anything to do with who's Oscar tied to?
You mean talking about Golden Boy?
Yeah. Who shows their fights?
The Zone.
The Zone. Right. So in this. Already some talk of Leonard Ellerby and those people over there. They don't. So I see that getting in the way. Garcia, not Garcia, but Oscar's already trying to set it up to be like, hey, we can split it down the middle. We know Tank ain't going for no split down the middle with this guy. So I can see that being the hang up.
You never know though. I mean, it might be one of those situations where he wants to punch him in the face badly enough to do it.
You're right.
But Devin Haney took less to go to Australia to get them belts off of Kambosos. So sometimes guys do what they need to do.
But from the business side, I could see a 50-50 split because Ryan Garcia is very popular.
He's gonna sell it. It'll sell.
And they might look at it and say 50-50. We're both gonna make more money than we've ever made before. That will be the biggest fight out there. Like the two of them are probably the most popular boxers around their weight class. Not probably, they are, right?
Yeah.
So that fight from a business standpoint makes the most sense. It's crazy because neither one of them have any of the main belts, right?
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, look, Mayweather knows how to promote his fighter. Obviously, Ryan Garcia knows how to sell himself. Look. Ryan Garcia, in terms of promotion, he's definitely King Rye because he doesn't have to take on any opponents, and he is wildly popular. So he's done an excellent job of marketing himself. So I mean, I think you're right, B. If he wins comfortably, he builds up enough confidence to say, yeah, I'm gonna take on Tank. It's gonna be a huge fight, and really, if he can stay upright. He won't take too much of a hit to his reputation, right? He can lose the fight. But if he can last 12 rounds with Tank, his rep still stays intact. He still has all his fans. He's not going to be looked at as a fraud per se. So there's some incentive there for him to take Tank next if he comes out good on this fight. I still think he's going to
win. Tank. Oh man, listen. I'm on record again on this very show of saying that is the one fight I've been waiting for the last 2 years. I just want to see Tank beat him up real bad. Like, I don't even want you to knock him. Don't even, you know what? Don't even knock him out. Just beat him. Just beat him up. Just
hold him up.
But this is what's going to happen. If he wins the fight, right? Let's say he looks great. He wins the fight. He's going to say, and I hope that there's a prop bet out there. Shout out to D Weezy. That how many times, or will Ryan Garcia mention Tank Davis' name at the end of this fight? Right. We know it's going to happen, right? He's going to mention his name. He's going to do all the calling out. There's going to be talks of it for the next 2 months. And
there's a prop bet for that.
I'm wondering if it will be. There's usually prop bets for anything, but and then he's gonna call out Tank. 2 months gonna be talk of that. They're gonna go back and forth on Twitter, and then he's gonna end up fighting JoJo Diaz. It'll be something like that. And I don't even think he wants JoJo Diaz. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say JoJo Diaz. He does not want to touch Tank. He does not want anything to do with that guy.
Yeah.
He wants to use his name, and hey, smart. If you think it's gonna help you sell your fights and help your fan base, he don't want that. He does not want that problem.
I agree. I can see him fighting Gambo or somebody like that. So something like that. All right. I mean, that's all I had. You guys had anything else? I mean, we covered the two main things. All right. Well, before we finish, I want to give a special shout out to the awesome boxers over in Thailand. Okay, me and B were talking about Thailand. This apparently this is a custom over in Thailand, Mikey. Boxers take on stage names, all right? And what sparked this conversation, what made me and B delve into this and do some research was our guy, Knockout CP Freshmart. Yes, that is the boxer's name, Knockout CP Freshmart. Is that not the dopest name in boxing? So what they do is, you explain it, B. They usually take on the name of their sponsor or something like that, right?
They won't use their own name. They'll use either a name that's kind of related to where they're from, or their own personal nickname, or the name of their gym, or their manager will give another nickname. Like there's another fighter, I can't pronounce his first name, but his last name is Galaxy. His fighting name, which is the name of a nightclub that is run by his manager's friend. So yeah, it's just in the case of CP Freshmart, they kind of sponsor the fighters, and they tell them, hey, you fight with CP Freshmart as your name, and now everybody has to say CP Freshmart every time you do anything.
Yeah.
Knockout was a guy who transferred over from Muay Thai and got the name Knockout, because that's obviously not his real name either. He got the name because he supposedly had explosive power, but he's in boxing, he's got 23 wins and only 9 knockouts. So I'm wondering when he's going to change that, because that's the other thing they say they change their names. I want to say frequently, but just over the course of their career, they'll change up their ring names as well.
Now.
Look at what you learn on this show.
Now, this made me ask a question. Why is American sports so lame? Yeah. Like, why don't boxers over here do that? Yes, they have nicknames, but man, take on a stage name. Go all the way.
Right.
All right. Go all the way with it. Can you imagine one of our top fighters' name, Knockout CP Freshmart? You know what I'm saying?
The one time it kind of sort of happened, everybody loved it. I mean, not even in boxing, but in the XFL, he ate me. He was the biggest star in the XFL. He wasn't the best player in the XFL, but he was the biggest star in the XFL.
That's true.
And everybody knew who he was.
That name stuck out so much and stood with him so long. Like, I think he gets mad now with people because no one knows his real name. So when
I know his real name,
Rod Smart.
His real name is Rod Smart. He played for the Panthers.
Yeah. Right. But everybody
he
knows
better
him as he hate me.
He better cherish that. That's what got him his shot.
Right.
He better be thankful for that. But that is dope, man.
Yeah.
That is dope. You take a nickname and the name of your sponsor, and that's your stage name for when you're boxing. That's awesome. Have fun with it, man. Sheesh.
Knockout McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah. Thunder and Chipotle.
Right. Hey, it might happen, man. Look.
What would be our stage names? What would be our stage names? Man, who would we want? First, who would we want to sponsor us? That's one. That's one. Who would we want to sponsor us? And then what nickname will we come up with to match that sponsor? That's a tough one. Look. Everybody that watches this on YouTube, Put that in the comment. Give us your stage name, your boxing stage name. All right. If you listen to it on the audio podcast, wherever you listen to audio podcast, leave a comment. Give us your stage name. That's the question we're gonna leave you guys. Make sure you do it. I want to see what you guys think. Stage name for us. Oh man, who would sponsor us? Who would sponsor us?
Right.
Yeah, there's a sponsor out there that look.
Hey, we'll take that name. We'll take the stage name. Write the check.
Yeah. Maybe that something with Xbox. I play a lot of Xbox. I can be flashing the Xbox or something like that.
We might have to think that. We have to think on that one. That's
a good one, right? All right, okay. So that's our homework. So our next podcast or our next live stream, we are going to reveal our boxing stage names. All right, that's what we're gonna do. That's gonna be a fun one. But all right. Anything before we get out of here? You guys got any last words to say before we get out of here?
No, I think we pretty much covered what's going on right now. There's some fights going on today. We got Mark Magsayo against Ray Vargas, Derek Chisora against Pulev. So, maybe we'll talk about those on the next episode. Definitely not going to be live streaming for those. But we'll talk about them next week when we're streaming for King Rye.
Cool.
B, right. Look at B. B, you just hurt a lot of feelings. I can hear Hendo crying in the background.
But hey, next week, look, that's the big one. That's our guy.
Yeah,
King Rye. One of these days we're gonna get Ryan Garcia on this show. You guys are gonna be so surprised when he comes up does our show. All right, that is it. Like we said, man, we've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes. We have a lot in store for you, so stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio podcast, make sure you follow us. All right, and also you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Ring Kings Pod. All right, and once again, make sure if you want to support the show even further, patreon.com/LBHT show is how you do it. But all right, thank you guys for watching and listening. Thank you to my brothers here, B and OTR Mike. B, are you ready to take us out of here?
Yes, I am ready now.
All right, y'all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time. Peace out.
Peace.